So what we're looking at here comes from Dr. Chandra. He's actually who we would consider to be the father of nutritional immunology. He's the doctor and the researcher that put so much information together on how important it is for your immune system to have adequate nutrition and nutrients. And so what we're looking at here in this particular diagram, kind of the way I want you to think about this is the storm clouds above this umbrella are all of the assaults on the immune system, all the things that are going to come at your immune system during any given time. And your immune system is represented by this umbrella. And so what you can see here is you've got different components to immunity. In this case, skin is part of your immune system. So an intact skin barrier, very important. Mucosal immunity. Now, mucosal immunity, for those of you who may not be aware what that is, this is the mucus that you produce in your sinuses, in your lungs. It's the mucus you produce in your GI tract. It's a thin barrier of mucus that's rich in antibodies that helps lay down a physical barrier between you and the outside world. So for example, if you were to breathe in different environmental allergens, those mucosal immunities, if you breathe those in, you've got protection in your sinuses, you've got protection in your lungs when that air comes into your lungs. So very, very important mucosal immunity. Then we have components to our immune system called lysozymes and phagocytes. So phagocytes are specialized types of immune cells. Lysozymes are these granular materials packaged within your cells that help eat away bad guys or that help to attack or neutralize different things that are trying to come in and penetrate your immune system. We've got antibodies or immunoglobulins. If you've heard that term antibody, that's what an immunoglobulin is. And so we've got several of those. We've got IgG, we've got IgA and IgM. So very, very important immunoglobulins. Then we have what's called cell mediated immunity, and then we have, so this is actual immunity or immune system function directly from your cells, particularly your T cells. And then we have complement immunity, which are chemicals that our immune system produces to help defend us, as we have interferon and other chemicals that, again, another chemical that our immune system produces to defend us. So these are, again, think of these rings in this umbrella as just different parts of the immune system that are designed to help defend you from the onslaught of potential problems. And so you can see down here, again, this is coming directly out of the book Immunity and Malnutrition by Dr. Chandra. So a single view of host defenses as a protective umbrella consisting of a physical barriers, the skin, the mucous membranes, non-specific mechanisms like complement, lysozymes, phagocytes, and then antigen-specific processes like your antibodies and cell-mediated immunity. And protein energy malnutrition, meaning if you don't eat enough protein, and in deficiencies of various nutrients, many of the host defenses are breached, meaning if you don't have adequate nutrition, this umbrella doesn't work very well and it's got leaks in it. And if you ladies, if you just fixed your hair, now your hair's all wet and messed up and frizzy, well, it's not your hair as much as in this case, it's your immune system, right? So it's breached, allowing for microbes to invade and produce clinical infection that is more severe and prolonged. So again, when these things are intact, your immune system is stronger, it can defend you better, you're better capable of staving off any infection, no matter what it is. So this is very critical concept to understand. Nutritional immunology. This is not, a new invention or a new concept. This concept has been around for decades. And again, that image actually from a book published in 1992. So we're not talking about brand new information. We're not saying that all of a sudden nutrition is now important. This has been important and it's important now for you to understand it. So let's talk about some of these immune assaults. So in this diagram, what you can see here on the left-hand side is you can see different things that might come in and pose a threat to your immune system directly, right? So these things coming in, you've got your immune system, which is your shield, right? And this shield of your immune system is buffered by critical key nutrients, which we'll talk about tonight. But you can see here, food sensitivity, viruses, different chemicals from the environment, chronic stress, bacteria. And this is not to say that all viruses and bacteria are evil or bad, but again, too much of enough can create problems, can create infection. Parasitic infection, lack of sleep can impact or assault your immune function. Yeast overgrowth, Otherwise, yeast are, fungi. Let's change our color here. Let's see here. So, if you talk about invasive microorganisms, viral and bacteria and parasitic and fungi, or all the different types of microbes that can get in and colonize and create problems for people. And then again, a sedentary lifestyle. So these are some of the most common assaults on the immune system, that wear down this shield, that break this shield down over time, creating a weakness in it, and that weakness is what's going to predispose you to picking up infection and having a problem. So food sensitivity is super important. Now, many of you that watch the show are well aware that gluten is a major factor here, but for many it's not just gluten, it can be other foods as well. And so other common food sensitivities that we see with immunosuppression or immunological problems, one big one is dairy. Dairy actually in many cases can overstimulate the production of mucus, thus distracting your immune system from what it's supposed to be doing. Your immune system tries to take care of you and help you in combating dairy instead of combating some of these other issues. So food sensitivity, we don't want the food that we're eating to wear away our immune system and distract it from many of these other things. So gluten, dairy. Another big one is sugar. And I know a lot of you during this, especially during times of stress, many of you are stressed right now, a lot of us are stressed right now, want to gravitate toward the sweets, right? Gravitate toward the sugar. For many, this is comforting, right? It provides instant dopamine, so instant comfort, and so you've got to be real cautious, especially with these three. If you follow a traditional American diet, you're eating cake that's loaded with gluten and has dairy in it, but also is loaded with sugar, right? That's like the perfect bomb to blow up your immune system and really crash it. So these three, probably some of the biggest that you want to consider removing from the diet. But if you've got other food sensitivities or other food allergies, if you don't know whether you do or whether you're not, one of the things you can ask your doctor to do is test you for food sensitivity. So that's something to keep in mind as well. As far as viruses are concerned, I won't speak too much about that. I'm sure we'll have plenty of questions in the Q&A section on that issue. Chemicals, chemical predominantly, a lot of people don't consider alcohol a chemical, but very much is. It's an example, smoking or cigarettes. Another example of chemical burden or chemical exposure. And then we've got a number of different chemicals that we're exposed to on a daily basis in our foods, right? So it's not always what you eat, but it's what's in you eat. And so pesticides, another example here, non-organic foods containing pesticides that can potentially create a wear and tear down effect of your immune system. Oops. So beyond chemicals, we've got chronic stress. Now, raise your hand right now if you've been under more stress than a typical average year. Most of you probably raising your hand. Stress is a major factor, and this is one of the reasons why it's so important. These two here, the stress and the sleep, go hand in hand, because many of you, you may not be getting good sleep and you're under stress. This is like a double hit. And sometimes too, chronic stress will affect your ability to get good sleep. So very, very critical right now, in my opinion, if you really want to overcome. So sometimes we can't control the stress, but getting that sleep. And so one of the critical things that you can do to really give your immune system support is make sure you're going to sleep at the right time. What is that time frame for sleep, repair, and recovery? It's be asleep by 10 and be asleep all the way through at least 2 a.m. Now, 10 to 2 is when our body heals and repairs and resets. So if you're going to bed at midnight, if you're going to bed at 1, you're missing some of that 4-hour window where you're going to get the bulk of the benefit of your sleep. Now, obviously you want to sleep longer than just 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., but it's that window that's very, very crucial. So if you're going to bed at midnight every night, you're missing 50% of that 10 to 2 window. Not a good thing. If you're going to bed later, even worse. So really, really focus on what you can control. Most of us right now can't control some of the stressors in our life. But we can control food, we can control going to bed on time. Those are definitely things that we can do. And then down here, we can control sedentary lifestyle. So another mistake people make when they're under stress is they stop exercising and they start eating poorly. It's a super common combination But it's a unfortunate thing because again, when you start eating bad, your energy goes down, your nutrition goes down, your ability to nourish your body diminishes, and then you stop exercising, so your body stays stagnant. Remember, one of the benefits of exercise, aside from building lean mass or building lean muscle, which, by the way, muscle, which is made out of protein, is a critical component to your immune system's reserve tank, meaning that the more lean mass that you store on your body, the more resilient you're going to be in times where you might get sick. Your body will call on the protein storage of your muscle to produce chemicals, especially antibodies, to help you get over that illness. So if you're starting out super sedentary and you're, what we call skinny fat, or you're really, let's just say, out of shape physically, that can be a major problem. And one of the simplest things you can start doing is just general calisthenics. You don't have to beat yourself into the ground with a major CrossFit workout, but you can do body weight activities to your skill set, right? To start building some lean mass, because that sedentary lifestyle can be dangerous. Now, the other thing that exercise helps to do is it helps to pump your lymphatic fluid. So one of the mistakes when people are sedentary is their lymph is stagnant. Remember, your lymphatic fluid, when it's stagnant, not only are you not taking out the garbage, so to speak, but that stagnant lymphatic fluid, it's not going to bode well for your immune system and its capacity to help defend you. So moving, even if it's just mild movement, again, depending on where you're at in your physical acumen or your physical stature, you start where you're at and you move toward progress. You get stronger, you get better, you do it consistently. Consistency is the key. You don't have to go squat 300 pounds tomorrow, but you got to start getting consistent here if you're not already, because this is a major part of immune function. It's a lot less common to see somebody who's well muscled get taken down by a cold or a flu. It's super common to see somebody with the comorbidity of obesity, right, where they're overweight and they're under muscled, where a cold or a flu knocks them out. And so again, this is one of the reasons why. It's that muscle, it's that lymphatic flow. Very critical, very important overall. Hey, don't forget to check out the rest of the series right here. Make sure you hit subscribe below. And as always, thanks for tuning in.